Hello, my name is Don Bartolomeo Sumitada Omura. I am the first daimyo in Japan to be baptized. It's my personal and perhaps biased opinion, but two Spaniards have had a huge impact on Japan.
Bueno, bien, viaje un poco largo, pero con muchas ganas de venir, mucha ilusión, motivación máxima para poder empezar a entrenar, poder conocer a mis compañeros y poder jugar cuanto antes.
One is Andres Iniesta. His playing in Japan taught many Japanese players what true excellence is. They drew on that experience, and at the Qatar World Cup, as if to return the favor, they defeated Spain 2-1. The other, and the main character of today's story, is the Jesuit missionary Francis Xavier, who traveled a staggering 30,000 kilometers all the way from the Kingdom of Navarre via Lisbon, Goa, and Malacca to reach Kagoshima in Kyushu. The era in which he arrived in Japan was known as the Sengoku period, a time when the authority of both the emperor and the shogun had plummeted, plunging the country into civil war. In this era of the strong preying on the weak, every feudal lord needed to strengthen their domain both economically and militarily. Even famous figures like Toyotomi Hideyoshi, who built the renowned Osaka Castle, and Tokugawa Ieyasu, who laid the groundwork for the great city of Tokyo, rose to power during this very era. Here's a little anecdote. The Shimazu clan, established around 1200 AD, and whose descendants continue to thrive today, coincidentally bears the circle with a cross as their family crest. One can only imagine that Xavier, upon entering the castle, might have had a complex thought, perhaps fleetingly wondering, could Christianity already have spread throughout this land, even if it wasn't the case? After that, he moved his base of operations to Hizen, modern-day Nagasaki Prefecture, and then Suo, modern-day Yamaguchi Prefecture. To meet with Japan's highest authorities, the emperor and the shogun, he traveled by boat across the Seto Inland Sea, eventually arriving at Sakai port. Currently renowned globally as a city of knives, Sakai is also home to the Nintoku Tenno-ryo Kofun, one of the world's 3 largest tombs, alongside the pyramids of Giza and Qin Shi Huang's mausoleum. This colossal structure, built around the mid-5th century, hints at the advanced civil engineering and underlying metalworking techniques of the era. Building on these traditional metalworking skills, Sakai's blacksmiths quickly mastered the firearm manufacturing technology introduced by the Portuguese just before Xavier's arrival, transforming Sakai into one of Japan's leading centers for gun production. Consequently, Sakai became a crucial base for daimyos striving to enrich and strengthen their domains, leading to bustling human traffic. Upon reaching Kyoto, Xavier was disheartened by its desolate state. After a stay of merely around 10 days, he returned west in disappointment, taking up residence in Suo and then Bungo. Both domains welcomed him, but the volatile nature of the era was evident in Suo, where the lord who had granted him permission to preach was driven to suicide by an internal rebellion among his vassals. Francis Xavier left Japan on November 15, 1551, after approximately 2 years of stay, with the aim of spreading Christianity in China. Xavier's missionary achievements in Japan include the following: laying the foundation for Christianity, During his approximately 2-year stay, he traveled through places like Kagoshima, Hirado, Yamaguchi, and Bungo, present-day Oita Prefecture, introducing Christianity. His activities laid the foundation for Christianity in Japan. Gaining converts. In Yamaguchi, with the permission of Ochi Yoshitaka, he gained nearly 500 converts in 2 months, acquiring a large number of followers in some regions. He also met with Otomo Soren, the daimyo of Bungo, and obtained permission for missionary work. Training successors. He left excellent missionaries like Fernandez and Torres in Japan, who continued missionary work after Xavier's departure. He also took several converts he gained in Japan, such as Bernard of Kagoshima, to India. Amazement and understanding of Japanese culture. He was impressed by Japan's high literacy rate and the richness of its culture in terms of scholarship and contemplation. However, missionary activities also faced difficulties. He struggled with learning Japanese and initially used the word dainichi to mean God, which was misinterpreted as a Buddhist sect, leading to language barriers. Furthermore, an audience with the emperor was not granted, and he did not achieve his initial goal of expanding missionary work throughout Japan. He believed that linking missionary efforts in Japan with those in China was crucial for further expansion. The legacy of Xavier's arrival. What did Xavier bring to Japan? Approximately 90 years after Xavier's arrival, Japan chose the path of isolation, sakoku. During this period, various feudal lords experimented with the advantages and disadvantages that Christianity offered. In my case, Omura Sumitada, I became deeply devoted to Christianity, but conversely suppressed traditional Buddhism, which created significant friction within my domain. It wasn't just farmers. Even wives of feudal lords in central Japan, like Hosokawa Gracia, the model for Mariko in the film Shogun, became devout Christians. The influence of Christianity had permeated to this extent. In 1637, a large-scale rebellion erupted in Nagasaki Prefecture's Shimabara Peninsula and the Amakusa Islands. Its leader, Amakusa Shiro Tokisada, possessed religious charisma among Christian followers and greatly inspired the rebels. The Tokugawa family, who had achieved national unification in the summer campaign of Osaka in 1615, took several months to suppress this uprising. This rebellion decisively demonstrated the threat posed by Christians, becoming a crucial factor in the finalization of Japan's isolationist sakoku policy. Japan is said to have 80 myriad gods, indicating its general religious tolerance. It's believed there was a certain hesitation to prohibit a specific religion. Francis Xavier's arrival in Japan marked the beginning of a profound and complex chapter in our history. His presence became far more than just a religious mission. It was like a wall-hitting partner, forcing the Japanese to deeply reflect on themselves. Xavier brought a fundamentally different worldview, a monotheistic religion distinct from our traditional Shinto Buddhist beliefs. This challenged us to confront new concepts of God, morality, and loyalty, prompting a crucial period of self-definition. We were pushed to reevaluate our own values, traditions, and identity. Was our existing framework sufficient? What were its strengths and weaknesses when faced with this new import? Beyond religion, the arrival of Westerners with advanced technology like firearms and different political structures, such as the colonialism seen elsewhere in Asia, compelled our leadership to consider Japan's place in the world. How could we maintain our sovereignty in this changing global landscape? The ultimate decision for Sakoku, our period of isolation, was a direct result of this deep reflection and strategic choice. Christianity also created internal friction, leading to debates and conflicts among daimyo, intellectuals, and common people about its acceptance or rejection. This internal struggle was a vital part of Japan's deep thinking about its future. So yes, Francis Xavier and the introduction of Christianity were not just about religious conversion. They acted as a significant catalyst for the Japanese to engage in a profound period of self-examination and redefinition that ultimately shaped the Edo period and beyond.
The tapestry of history unfolding from Xavier. As we trace the life of Francis Xavier, we encounter not only his passionate missionary work, but also the backdrop of a grand historical current. My own interest in Xavier, and by extension the history of Spain, was sparked by an experience during my first trip to Spain in my mid-20s. I was surprised to discover rice as part of the culinary culture in Europe. When I learned that it was introduced during the long period when parts of Spain were under Muslim rule, I was deeply impressed by how history is so profoundly embedded in daily life. And when that same Spain turned its gaze towards Asia, even more fascinating connections emerged. Spain, Asia, and unexpected serendipity. The Philippines, a country relatively close to Japan, bears a name derived from King Philip II of Spain. This fact came as a great shock to me. While I knew it had been a Spanish colony, the idea of a country being named after a monarch was something far beyond a Japanese person's typical frame of reference. Philip II himself was an ardent supporter of Catholicism, which led to a deepening conflict with the Netherlands. The fact that this very conflict later led to the Netherlands becoming Japan's sole European window to the world is, I think, an ironic and truly fascinating twist of history. The coincidence and inevitability woven by history. In the era when Xavier arrived in Japan, against the backdrop of the Age of Discovery, the world was truly witnessing the budding stages of globalization. Different cultures, religions, and the ambitions of powerful figures became intricately intertwined, shaping the world as we know it today. By following the footsteps of one missionary, we are reminded of how closely, and sometimes by a chain of coincidences, events in distant regions and eras are connected.